welcome back to the kitchen. I am going to teach you how to make pesto today. Pesto is from Liguria in Italy. And Liguria is famous for that because that's where they grow this beautiful basil. And this basil these are very large leaves, which leads me to believe that this was a very big plant at one time. And you can see, I can teach you in another show, and I will, how to julienne to get those wonderful strips of basil that you put on your food. But for now, we'll stick to the pesto. So what we're going to do in our work bowl here, this is our work bowl. It's got a little garlic left in it from, well, sampling. And it can actually wear it. And it smells pretty good when you wear it. Depends on if your mate likes it on you. And we're going to put some garlic that's chopped up that I showed you or will show you in another video how to chop it up. So we're going to put this in the bottom of the work bowl. Then we will take a little bit of, where am I? Okay, back here, pine nuts. Now you should accurately measure this, and I would ask you to do that before, but I'm looking at it, this is probably about a fourth of a cup if you measure this. And I will put that in the bottom of the work bowl. These are pine nuts. Pine nuts now are grown in China. They used to be grown in the US, but now they're from China like everything else. And they're very expensive. They're about 28 bucks a pound now, which I think is very expensive for pine nuts. So after that, you take your cleaned basil and you just kind of shove it in the work bowl. I mean, you just throw it in there. It doesn't have to be really slick. You don't have to put it in there. It doesn't have to look fancy, but you put it in your work bowl. And then on top of it, you put in some Parmesan or Romano cheese. I like to use a blend. And on top, and then we put the work bowl top back on like this, and we start the machine. So you put on, and you can hear it whirling. Take some olive oil and very slowly add olive oil, and you'll see it start to mix together. It'll start to incorporate or homogenize. Now the reason you're doing this slowly is because if you put it in all at one time, it's going to clump together and it's going to make not a complete sauce or a paste. You want this almost like a paste. See how it's coming together? And if you put it in all at once, it will break. And after you do it a few times, you'll be able to hear it. And you'll hear it start, the machine will start to labor, and then you turn it off. That is pesto. So when you go to use this, what I like to do is I will take some melted butter and I will put it in a pot, in the same pot that I boiled my pasta in. So the butter melts into that. Take the pesto, throw it on top of the butter, throw the hot buttered pasta on top of that, and it's a one-dish meal. You can make this in 20 minutes or less. This is going to be your go-to. Now, when you're done making this, during the winter, when basil is not fresh, I mean, you know, it just doesn't grow outside of spring and summer and sometimes fall. What I like to do is I take a small bowl with a Ziploc freezer baggie, put it in the small bowl like this, and then take a big spoon, hold your work bowl, and now I don't know if you can see this. Underneath here, I put my finger in here, and what that does is holds the blade stable and in place, so when you tip it, the blade here, the steel blade here, does not fall on your hand, doesn't fall out, and you can just put your pesto in your bag like this. You'll seal it and you put it in your freezer. I make multiples of these and have this pesto all year round. That way you don't have to, you come home from work, come home from school, you throw it, it's been thawed, you can throw it in thawed in the microwave for just a couple of minutes because it thaws relatively quickly. And I'm just getting all of this to make sure I don't want to lose this stuff. I mean, this stuff is like gold. You can put it on fish, you can put it on chicken, you can put it on meat. It's all purpose, and I mean, it is fast, it's easy, it's fresh, it's low relatively low calorie if you don't put a lot of butter, but you know, butter is like one of my 4 basic food groups along with chocolate and probably scotch. So I like to use a lot of butter. My kitchen, I go through about 2 pounds of butter a week in my kitchen for myself and my husband. That's really bad. I mean, my cardiologist is going to kill me when he sees this. But anyway, I try to put all the pesto in here. Back to the recipe. Take it, seal the bag without being as messy as I am, I'm sure. And then flatten it out. And that's all you do. Try to expel as much air out of the bag as you possibly can by laying it down like this. Date the bag. Make sure you know how long it's been in the freezer. And then just flatten these out in your freezer. I make like 15, 20 of these. And I've got them all year. So it's a fast, easy meal. It's fresh, it's easy, it's relatively cheap to make, and it's great. So, Pesto Festo. Have a party.